Hey everybody, Nicole Johnson with CoVision Real Estate Group, and today's frequently asked question about mortgage notes is what happens if the market crashes? So really great question, especially with all that's happening in the world and the economy, and the housing market is actually pretty slow right now. So it's a great legitimate question of what happens. So say you have a mortgage note, you've owned it, and that borrower, it's a 15-year mortgage note, you've owned it for a couple of months, but say there's still 10 years left on that mortgage note. So that borrower is legally contracted to pay their mortgage to you for a set amount of payment for the next 10 years until they've paid off their mortgage. So what happens if the real estate market crashes is essentially if they're still financially stable and still able to make their mortgage payments, the answer is nothing's going to actually happen to your mortgage note if the borrower is still able to pay. So they're still legally obligated to pay you their mortgage note for the next 10 years until the life of the loan, or they can turn around and sell the property. So one of those things of you're not really affected by the ebbs and flow of the real estate market because you have a locked in promissory note, a locked in mortgage that the terms of that loan can't change, don't change unless the borrower comes to you and says, hey, I've had some hardships. Is there any way we can modify this loan? Then you can work with that borrower to change the terms of the loan. But if that doesn't happen, if the borrower is still able to pay, regardless of what's happening in the real estate industry, they're still obligated to make that payment. If something were to happen with the value, the good news is when you're buying mortgage notes the way that we're buying them, you're usually buying them substantially less than what the value is of the property. So you might be buying a $50,000 mortgage note, but that house or that property is worth $150,000. So it would have to crash. The market would have to crash substantially by 100,000, by more than 75%, down to be underwater for what the value of what you actually bought that mortgage note for. So even if it crashed, yeah, you might have an asset that's not worth as much money, but you only paid 50,000 for it. So even if that value dropped 50,000 and now it's only worth 100,000 in a market crash, you still only bought it for 50,000. So you're still essentially protected because you're buying at such a low loan to value ratio. So that's one of the many things we love about investing in mortgage notes is there's a lot of safety nets in this type of investing. So yes, there's risks, but there's also some good safety nets and protocols and things that we look out for when evaluating mortgage notes to help protect the assets. And that's what we do for you as well when you're looking to purchase. So I know that's just a snippet of what it means, but essentially your asset is protected when you're buying mortgage notes for the most part, just because there's so many different levels of safety nets that we ensure are in place before we even buy the note and before we even sell the note to you. So I would love to go into more detail about, because like I said, that's just a snippet of why mortgage notes are a great way, because there's so many different ways you can protect your asset. But I'd love to share them with you. So if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out, send me a DM, shoot me a text, give me a call. Would love to hear from you. Set up a time where we can meet and chat some more about it. So hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching.